Arsenal lose to Manchester City in the Carabao Cup final today, and they lost 2-0. I mean, this was the worst possible outcome I think that I could have expected as an Arsenal fan. This was not on my bingo card today. I thought, okay, maybe Arsenal lose on penalties, or maybe they lose like 2-1 or something. For it to be, number one, 2-0, and for it to look this ugly for Arsenal, I'm just appalled as a fan. I am appalled. There's so much to talk about in this one. We have a lot to discuss. Before we get into this, I just want to talk about the actual emotional reaction I have to this. I mean, I wanted this day to be different so badly. I was thinking about this all week. Okay, let's get through these fixtures. You have the crazy fixture last week against Everton where you get the great win with Dalman helping out. Then you go handle Leverkusen very well. You score 2 great goals from open play. I'm feeling great. Arsenal have momentum. They have positive momentum. Manchester City have been struggling a little bit in the league the last couple weeks, and then they go and lose to Real Madrid in that fashion at the Etihad as well. And I just felt like everything was in Arsenal's, in their camp today to get the win. The at least vibes wise going in, just the form from both teams. And for it to end like this, again, it's just extremely disappointing. Like, this was just not how I saw this going today. But it's just, you got to take it for what it is. But it's just extremely disappointing. There's no other way to say it. You had the opportunity to get your first trophy in 6 years and to finally change the narrative. And you just let the doubters, get their fuel for the fire. And now, how does this even impact the team? Like, there's just really so much about this game that I think that could either lead Arsenal in a positive direction or a negative direction. We just have to see how it goes. Before we get into Arsenal, I do want to talk about Manchester City just because they deserve it and they did win the game. You got to give credit to them. I felt like City grew into this game really in the late first half. They grew into the late first half. I did not feel like they were the better side to start, but they slowly were starting to counter a little bit against Arsenal's game. And then once we got to the second half, I mean, it was like they smelled blood in the water, which they definitely did. I mean, the momentum that they had coming out of halftime where it was a constant barrage. I mean, it felt like Arsenal were hanging on to their last leg, and then the dam finally broke for Arsenal when Kepa makes the god-awful mistake. And then, O'Reilly, he finishes that one, and then he comes back just a few minutes later with with a header and really just puts Arsenal away. I mean, when it's 2-0 at that point, just with how Arsenal were looking, it was awful. But City were on it today. They grew into the game. A ton of credit to them. I thought their players really stepped up to the occasion, and this is why they are such a good organization for what they do. Again, I know the charges are a factor, but when we talk about what's strictly on the pitch, even if this isn't the Centurions or the team that we saw a couple years ago that won a treble, this team still has a little bit of winning DNA, and they proved that today. Pep Guardiola, he does it again. This guy just loves to win. He loves to win. He had gone, I think, an entire calendar year without winning, or at least like a season without winning any type of trophies, but he had to change that. Look, this might be a saving grace this year because we don't know how the Prem's going to end. They're now out of the Champions League. They're playing Liverpool in the FA Cup. Like, there's a lot there, but he's been dealing with some potential retirement rumors. People have been asking. I mean, you saw how he was after that first goal. He was animated. The guy definitely has the passion from what we can see. He still has the energy. I don't know if he's going to want to continue this project long term, but I think this had to make him feel better if he is going to stay in the future, just because he saw that his group today, without a few guys that they really needed. I mean, Mark Gahey was not here today. Ruben Diaz was not here today, and they still got it done. He's got to be feeling really good about that because they proved that they still have a little bit of that DNA. I just want to give credit to Pep. This guy's a serial winner. He's great for the Prem. He's great for the sport, but man, he's a tough nut to crack sometimes. He's just very good tactically, and then he has his bad weeks like last week against Real Madrid, or I guess the first leg, but still. This is just what this guy does. He's a serial winner, and I just wanted to give him credit. We'll see what he does moving forward. But this might be, the cherry on top at least this year, or if he wants to go out this year, at least he can be like, hey, I got a trophy. I'm not going out without one. And on to the City players, I just think deserve a shout. I mean, I already mentioned it, but again, O'Reilly just doing what he does, capitalizing off of mistakes from Kepa, and then again, like I said multiple times now, smelling blood in the water, gets another goal a few minutes later, just knows that the Arsenal side at that time were really kind of struggling with confidence from what it seemed, and again, just capitalizing on it and really taking advantage of that moment. This kid's very young. I think he's 20 or 21. Again, I didn't think he necessarily was like having that crazy of a game overall, but when you need him to make a play, he does it, and he did it multiple times today, and he's done this in a few games before that, we've seen him have some moments in the Champions League even this year, so I just want to give him credit. I want to give him credit because, again, Arsenal were looking literally all throughout the bench today to see who's going to make the difference, and then you just look over on that other side, and there's this, 20, 21-year-old kid that's just making plays and scoring goals. So the kid deserves a shout. It was a huge impact from him today. Again, I wouldn't say that he was dominating the game overall, but his presence when it came to a goal scoring standpoint, I mean, it was just absolutely massive. I thought Semenyo deserved a shout as well. I mean, he was working Hincapié today, and I thought Hincapié was potentially going to get subbed off at halftime. I mean, it was getting that bad, but Semenyo just cooking Arsenal, and again, this is a guy that I think Arsenal should have pursued more. He grew up an Arsenal fan. This is someone that I think that they could have pursued in the January transfer deadline, and they didn't. They let him go to City, and this is a guy I think that would have been good in the Arsenal system, and now you let him go to a rival, and he ends up beating you in a cup final. Obviously, he wasn't the main reason why Manchester City won, but still, I feel like he did a good job on his side, and he was definitely giving Arsenal problems. My last thing about City is just the midfield. I felt like Bernardo Silva, Rodri, Cherki, like they all just did their thing, especially in that second half. I mean, they were just outworking guys. Zubimendi, he was struggling for Arsenal today. Rice, I thought, did all right. I mean, I thought he still did his job, but he didn't necessarily have as many impact plays. And then, of course, Kai Havertz, I mean, he just wasn't going to stand a chance against those guys. They were running them off the pitch, and I just thought they did such a good job with controlling the ball defensively as well. And really at the end of the game, I mean, Cherki, him dancing on Arsenal with a little bit of flair, it just summed up the game and really how that group did against the Arsenal midfield. So credit to them. They just completely outclassed Arsenal today. On to Arsenal now. Let's start with the beginning of the game. I thought Arsenal were the better side about 30 minutes in. I just thought they were the better side. I mean, I liked what we saw in the beginning. Kai Havertz had a chance. I mean, that was really the chance for Arsenal. It could have completely changed the game, changed the momentum as well. It would have been 1-0 so early, and that's how Arsenal gets you, is they take an early lead, and then they just start suffocating you slowly. It's like a python, just slowly suffocating you because they can now play that defensive brand of football, and they can get ugly, and they can sit back and play a low block. But we didn't get that today. Kai Havertz misses the chance. I liked what I saw from Gyökeres, especially the long ball early with him. They were really getting him going. I thought he honestly did a better job than Haaland at times today, but he eventually ended up kind of ghosting in the second half. But I liked what I was seeing, at least, in the first half from him. But I just thought that they slowly lost control of the game, and it just really all changed in that second half. And I really wonder, I mean, my God, we'll talk about the subs in a sec, but man, they just lost complete control in that second half, and I just wonder if they should have made some subs either at halftime or a little bit earlier, because it just felt like they needed some type of spark today. And again, that second half, it was just so bad. You could see it and you could feel it. Arsenal they could not control the ball. They could not possess the ball. Anytime that Arsenal won the ball back, it was lost about 5 to 10 seconds later. I mean, there just really was not much there. And it felt like they were really hanging on like a thread, like I said. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier in the video, the dam broke. I mean, once there was a potential mistake to be made by Kepa, he makes it, and City score, and it just felt like the game completely changed at that point. I think one of the pundits at the game was saying in the post game was saying that, I mean, the Arsenal away end, or the Arsenal end of the fans just got deathly quiet after that first goal. And I think every Arsenal fan knew, like, dude, you guys are playing with your food. You're not playing up to standard, and this is the result we're getting, and now you're done 1-0. Is this the team that's going to be able to come back? I don't know. And it was just really again, such a bad look. So bad. I haven't seen Arsenal be manhandled like that and really just lose their cool, lose their temper, lose their confidence much like that this year. And it just was so ugly to watch. It really was. One of the worst second halves I've seen, or I guess one of the worst halves I've seen from this team in a very long time. Now on to the subs and Arteta. First, should he have started David Raya instead? I'm not going to lie, when I saw that Kepa was starting, I was a little shocked. I guess it made sense because I was like, okay, they've played Kepa the entire cup race, and then, Manchester City went with Trafford, but the drop-off is just ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. You're not seeing Raya make those mistakes, and I think Raya personally saves the second goal. Like, that makes it potentially a 0-0 game. Like, that's, I don't know. I just think it was that big of a difference, and I know hindsight's 20/20. We have the result that we have, but come on, man. Like, it's your first trophy in 6 years. Like, we don't want to win this. Like, we don't want to win this game. I don't know. It just really, really was frustrating. Like, I understand why Arteta did it, and I don't necessarily even hate it. But with this type of game and this type of fixture, to get the monkey off the back finally, these are the starts that you potentially have to make, and this one really bit him in the ass. And maybe this changes how he manages games like for the FA Cup, but just very, very hard to watch. My next one was, man, should Kai Havertz have been playing in the midfield? How many times have we seen this? It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. I like Kai Havertz, but he cannot possess the ball, especially in those type of times where he has to really kind of push it a little bit. Like, there are times he can do it here and there, but it was just so bad today. His build-up play was just disgustingly bad. It was bad. He couldn't handle it. He couldn't keep the ball for more than it felt like 5 seconds. And I just felt like that really hurt Arsenal. And really what hurt Arsenal today was not having Eze. I mean, not having Eze for the injury was just brutal. You missed him so much. You missed the creativity. You missed the flow. Even same with Odegaard. You just missed them both. You missed having one of those guys that could really create and kind of get the free-flowing football. Not that Arsenal are known for it this year, but like, still, just having that would have been just absolutely massive, and you just lacked it so much, and it was apparent seeing what Kai Havertz was trying to do in that position. And last is, I just thought that Arteta was a little off with the subs. I feel like he made them really late. Like, why does Trossard go off in the 83rd minute or something like that? Like, it's not like he was doing anything. Let's bring on Martinelli a little earlier. I would have liked to see Saka go central earlier. I'm glad they at least did it, but I would have liked to see him go central earlier because he wasn't doing anything on the wing. So bring him out of Wake. Bring in a guy that's at least had some flair the last couple games. Again, the Kai Havertz one was just so bad. I just felt like Arteta, I don't know. I just don't know if he set the team up as good as it could have been set up. Or I guess I don't know if he necessarily adapted as good as I would have liked to see him adapt today, because it just felt like the game was not going our way. And again, Hincapie was getting worked by Semenyo. Like, I just felt like he could have pushed a couple different buttons and could have showed a little bit more urgency, because it felt like we needed a sub, and then the goals came from City, and it was just like, well, we're just screwed now. Like, that's how I felt. And it's just rough. Again, a lot of it's hindsight 2020, but just don't feel like he got it right today. I have 2 questions for Arsenal. Let's start with the first one. Does this just reinforce to the fan base and really, the team that maybe they can't win these big games? I still believe in this project. I still believe in this manager. I still believe in this, this team. But at the same time, this is a real thing. Like, this is a thing that's been a thing by not winning trophies, and today just multiplied it. It just multiplied it. And it just, I wonder if this is going to impact the team negatively. Like, does it impact them positively? Maybe they do take it in a positive way, but you can only lose so many moments to especially a team like Manchester City that's gotten the best of you. And I don't know. You're going to have to see them later in the season too. Like, there's a lot that goes into this, but man, I just wonder if this is going to affect them negatively or positively. I really am curious to see how, I guess this, affects the trajectory of this team. And really, I guess I didn't explain this as well as I would have liked to the last minute or two, but is this a team that we can rely on in these kind of one-on games where you need to get, a result? You need to get a result. Is this a team that we can rely on? Now, again, I know you don't have Eze, you didn't have David Raya, and you don't have Timber, but still, you need someone to make a play, and we just did not have that today. And these big games in the Champions League, these big games that we're going to even have in the league and maybe even the FA Cup, are we going to be able to see one of these guys step up? And so far, I don't know if I have as much trust in them as I did before today. And the last question I have is, will this derail the season? There's a lot to still play for. As much as this sucks, and I'm really annoyed with this result, I'm disappointed, I'm embarrassed with this result, you still can go win a league. You still can win the FA Cup. You can still win the Champions League. There's still a ton to play for. And don't lose sight of the fact that you're 9 points clear in the league. I know that City still have a game in hand, but still, do not let this fall off, okay? Like, don't let the train fall off the tracks. You can't let the train fall off the tracks. You can't get sucked up too much in the moment, as much as it sucks, and it's going to suck. You got to take these wounds. You have to remember where you are. At the end of the day, if we're winning or if we're lifting the Premier League trophy in 2 months, I'm not going to give a damn about this. Like, yes, it will hurt. It will suck. But I'm not going to really care about this as much because you still got over the line. If you let this derail your season and not let you get over the line, then we will circle back to this moment, and this will be the moment that set Arsenal off. But we just have to see, and I just want to, again, I want to see how is this team going to respond. I'd love to hear what you guys think, because it just seems like some people are starting to lose faith. I don't know. I'm trying to keep myself level-headed, but at the same time, it's also just like, damn, man, when are we going to get the trophy? Today was supposed to be the day to do it, and they just did not do it. That's all I had in this video. Had to rant. Had to give credit, though, at the same time to Manchester City. Very curious to see how this all goes and really how this plays out for the rest of the team, or the rest of these two teams for the rest of the season, because now Manchester City can put a little bit more pressure on Arsenal. Arsenal have 2 weeks to think about this with the international break. We'll see, but if you like this video, feel free to give it a like. If you like this type of content, feel free to subscribe. Drop any of your thoughts down below on the game. My TikTok will be in the description down below if you want to check out any of my short-term content. And if you made it this far in the video, I greatly, greatly appreciate you, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.